tell it in French this time to change it.
No, no.
Communication par lumière visible et LiFi, principe et application.
So I'm Luc Chassagne, I'm coming from the University of Versailles, that is now Paris-Saclay, quite. And I am working in the Lisley Laboratories, that is a laboratory of technology mostly. So I try this, okay. So I will work about the communication with visible light, so just for the fun. Antoine Bell tried what was called the photophone, which was light, the sun of the light of the sun that was modulating a mirror, but okay, I'm not sure it was working very well. So obviously everyone knows the optic communication. Mostly there is two characteristics. The photo on the right is a little tricky. It's infrared light, so mostly 1.5 micrometer in the wavelength, and of course you have optic fibers. So the difference since many years is that at the beginning of the 21st centuries, the LEDs are coming in maturity, and you can buy some LEDs very efficient, very cheap, and a revolution for the light. Okay, so everyone knows that you can use LED for lighting, but you can use it also as you use a laser to communicate, to modulate the light. So there is the term that you can see in the literature that is Li-Fi. It was proposed by Harold Das in 2011. It's inspired from Wi-Fi, Li-Fi, light fidelity. I propose this term because there is many characteristics that are exactly the same as Wi-Fi. You can see also the acronym VLC, Visible Light Communication. I think it's understandable easily. And OWC, Optical Wireless Communication. So the characteristic is to have light, to ensure the lighting in the room, and transmission of data. The advantages of LED are plenty. I just put the advantages, not the drawbacks, but there is a very good efficiency, it's low cost, long life, healthy. It's an important point because it's not so clear the influence of the radio frequency on the health. So the healthy topics is important. And most of all, today the standards for the using of the visible light are not so defined that on the radio frequency. You know, radio frequency, there is EV standards. You cannot use the frequency that you want. There is only some official channel, and it's not so easy. Today, for the light, it's open. So the basic is, the principle is very basic. It's exactly the same that in optic telecommunication with laser. Exactly the same. So you have digital data. You choose LED, generally speaking. So I put a red one, but it can be a white one, a green one, what you want. You send the modulation on the LED. After that, you have an optics to collect the light. Very simple, a lens. It's enough. Mostly a photodiode, sometimes an avalanche diode, but not so much. And after that, all the electronics to rebuild the data. Okay, it's exactly the same that in telecom. Of course, when you switch on and switch off the lights, if you modulate the light, you have to do it quickly enough in order to not to blind the human being. But no problem, you cannot see the blinking at high frequency. So the principle is very basic, but the most difference between optical telecommunication is that the signal-to-noise ratio is very dependent on the position of the receiver. It's not like in fiber optics, when you can calculate the attenuation, you can calculate the waveform that you use. Okay, you can predict easily the consequences. For visible light, the light goes everywhere, and it's not so easy to control the signal-to-noise ratio. So the big difference between Wi-Fi, I put some numbers just to illustrate. So the frequency of Wi-Fi, it's microwave, around 2 gigahertz. The wavelength of the light obviously is very high, around maybe 400 terahertz. Presently, if you have a good Wi-Fi link, it's around 50 to 100 megabytes per second. It depends, but around. And in the demonstration of transmission by LED modulated on Wi-Fi system, you can reach gigabytes per second data rate, or even the record is around 200 gigabytes per second. So potentially, you can send a lot of data compared to Wi-Fi. Okay. So I will try to make the difference between the two technologies. So I put two graphs, so don't be afraid, I will not detail all the points. I put this graph for several reasons. The main characteristic that is very important is called the spectral efficiency. You want to send some bytes per second in a certain bandwidth. Okay, you have a channel that is maybe have a 1 megahertz bandwidth. You want to send the maximum of bit per second. So it's the criteria to say, okay, I can have a good channel, I have a good modulation. Depending also, the second parameters, it's the kind of modulation. So I'm sorry, in telecom there is plenty of acronym. It's not so convenient, but so the UUK is the one that you have in your remotes. So very easy modulation. The QAM and the EFDM are more complete modulation that you can find in the laser telecommunication. So there's plenty of modulation possible. Maybe 50 or different, I don't know exactly. So it's also a challenge to try to find the best one. A third parameter is the source. Of course, you can use a LED. So it's what is called PH LED, phosphor LED, it's the white LED classical. It's a blue LED plus some yellow phosphor, and you have white light. You can use red LED, RGB LED, so red, green, blue LED. You can use micro LED. You can use laser. You can use organic LED. Plenty of sources are possible. And the characteristic, of course, will be completely different. So if you trace this map of the prototype that have been developed in plenty of academic laboratories in the world, you can see that you have a reasonable range of transmission, even if there is the strong sun, even if the light is not really controlled like in a fiber. So it's quite convenient in a room, no problem to transmit from the ceiling to your smartphone or a computer. So I put some photography just to illustrate plenty of applications that are possible. In France, it depends of the countries, I don't know in Peru, but in France, in the hospital, you cannot use radio frequency for health problems, for interference problems. So the transmission by light is quite interesting. Okay. There are some applications in the museum because with the light you can focus the information at a very focused place. In the supermarket, they want to guide you in the supermarket to advise you what is the best product. Okay. Very interesting point in the Wi-Fi. Intrinsically, it's secure. Okay. If I close the wall, there is no window. The light cannot go out of the room. It's very interesting for security reason because if you have a radio frequency source, radio frequency cross the wall, someone outside can catch your signal. With the light, it's impossible. So it's intrinsically very secure. And there is also an interesting topic. Everyone knows the GPS, the Global Positioning System, but it's for outside because there is some satellite in the sky. So inside, it's not working very well. With the light, it's easy. Okay, this light is the light number, I don't know, 6 million and so on. If I catch this light, I know exactly where I am, in the building. So in big building, in the industry, in big museum, it's very interesting. The interest to use a Li-Fi with OLED, organic LED. The organic LED can be very flexible and you can put it everywhere. And the same, there are some works about using Li-Fi plus taking the energy of the sun with photovoltaic cell, because the photovoltaic cells can be used just as a photodiode to receive the light. Okay, so I will make now a focus on transport, the using of Li-Fi in transport, and mostly on automotive, because it's the main topic when we work on the lab on this topic. So today, if you look at the modern city, all the cars, all the boats, the planes are a node of information. Okay, you receive plenty of information and send plenty of information everywhere. Tomorrow, for the automotive that must be mostly autonomous, it's compulsory to have plenty of information of the environment. Okay. So there is two kinds of application of the Li-Fi. On the right, you can imagine to send some video or whatever inside the car. So you control completely the environment, but if you send, I don't know, a video to a screen, it can be interesting. Outside the car, you can imagine communication between vehicles, because today vehicles have LED on the light. Okay, quite expensive vehicle for sure. Cheap vehicle, not so sure for today, but in the next future it will be. So vehicle can communicate with light, or you can also imagine communication between infrastructure and vehicles. So it's very interesting for the safety, for what you want to communicate. Most of all, I don't know if you have seen some. I don't think you can buy today this car, but in few years, your light on the cars will be pixelized. Okay, Valeo announced a light with 1 million pixels, 1 million pixels, like a video. So there is plenty of application. For example, on the left hand side, the car alert the cyclist to say, "Oh, okay, I will go on the left. Take care." On this example, you can light on the part of the road that you want, and not blind the other cars. On this example, it's not so obvious, but in fact, the pedestrian crossing is projected by the light. It's not painting on the road. Okay, the car see the pedestrian and say, "Okay, you can cross." So very interesting. And as I said, tomorrow the builder say 1 million pixels. So you can imagine to communicate on the left, on the right, what you want. So it's very interesting, because if you have 1 million pixels, you have 1 million sources of information. Maybe I don't need 1 million sources, but the more I have, the best it is. So why Li-Fi is interesting in automotive fields? There is plenty of works with communication between vehicles with radio frequency. Of course, it works, no problem. But it has been proved that when you have plenty of cars, it's not so easy to guarantee what is called the latency. Okay? If I want to communicate to another car, a criteria that is very important is the latency. I want to communicate, I want to say, "Okay, I'm there, take care." I want to be sure that the information is coming in a short time, and I want to be sure of this time. It's impossible that sometimes it takes 1 second, sometimes 2 seconds. No. So the latency that is the standard is 20 milliseconds. Okay, for safety data. If you transmit the information with radio frequency, I think everyone has the experience. Sometimes Wi-Fi is okay, no problem. And sometimes Wi-Fi, there is too much people, and you cannot guarantee the latency. The Li-Fi is very interesting because the standard today guarantee a shorter latency. So it's very interesting. Another very important point is the privacy. Like I said, maybe some of you have seen some video of someone that is hacking the automotive by internet and take the control of your car. Whoa. The constructor, the builders of automotive don't want that. It's highly difficult to hack a system if it is the information is transmitted by the light. It's mostly difficult than with radio frequency. So to illustrate this point, I will take an example that is called platooning. So what is platooning? In the front of all the vehicles, you have a vehicle with a driver. Okay, you drive on the highway, and after that, the 4 vehicles are fully autonomous. They just follow the leader. Okay, the driver doesn't do anything. So it's very interesting to have some information that is repeated car by car, just to say, okay, I'm there. I am going to this speed. I accelerate. Some other information are quite interesting. Also, the weight. If you want to control the platoon, the weight of each vehicle is very interesting. And you don't need so much information. Okay, I put this example, or for example, a frame of GPS coordinates, only 100 bits, so not so much. So in the example of platooning, you can understand easily that, okay, if you want to hack the information between 2 vehicles, it's impossible. There is just the light between 2 vehicles, impossible to hack. You need an optical receiver between the 2 vehicles, so it's quite difficult. And an important point, if the latency of the communication is shorter, you can shorter the distance between the 2 vehicles. So it's interesting. And it has been proved mainly for the trucks that if for a platoon, if you respect a distance of around maybe 20 meters, the consumption of the fuel is lower of 20%. So it could be also a solution for energy economy. So I put some numbers on this graph just to illustrate what has been done in all the laboratories in the world. In the automotive field, you can see that you have some data rates of several megabytes per second, mostly 100 kilobytes, so it's enough to transmit video. Okay, nice. And the distance, you can reach 20 to 100 meters, it depends on the configuration. So 100 meters is quite comfortable. Okay. And as I said, the pixelization will open also new possibilities. On the left, I put the graph on the modulation. I'm sorry, it's acronym, but what you can see is the UUCA is the mostly used. The UUCA is very simple to understand. You switch on, you switch off, you switch on, you switch off. So just to switch on or off the line, it's a modulation very easy to understand. So my last slide. It's an example of in situ measurement. It was a collaboration between UVSQ and the Taiwan University, the NTU. So you can see 2 vehicles. There is a LiDAR to measure the distance between the 2 vehicles. There is a Li-Fi VLC system to communicate between the 2 vehicles, and you go to a real road, okay? In the not so sunny day, but okay. And you drive for around 45 minutes. The results, it depends on the modulation, whatever, quite the same. You can see the yellow points. It is the success of 10 kilobits that has been sent and well received. Okay, the frame of 10 kilobits frame. So the most yellow it is, the most successful it is. You can see on the x-axis the lateral position of the vehicle that is following the first one. On the y-axis, the distance between the 2 vehicles. So all the yellow parts means that you receive correctly the information of 10 kilobytes that is sent continuously in the second vehicle. So in my point, it's a very important demonstration that it works in a real situation with a real car in a real world. It's not science fiction. So the data rates are not so good, 100 kilobits per second, but it's enough to transmit safety data, even video, no problem. Okay. So my last slide, this time, it's another example in planes. Why Li-Fi is interesting in planes? Because if you transmit data with light, it means that you have no fiber, you have no wires. If you have no wires, it's weight that you have not to embed in the plane. So of course, planes want to be the most léger. Light. Sorry, light. Light for consumption reasons. So it's interesting for this point. So it was a prototype that has been done by a company that was born from the LIBO, that is named OLEDCom, with a Latecware that is an airplanes company. Probably tomorrow in the planes you will have big fiber in the center of the planes to distribute, to deploy the information. And at the terminal point, the small light in the roof can project some video or what you want, and you can see the receiver that is integrated. It's a proto, so it's not fully integrated, but it's quite nice for the beginning. So the light is going on the screen, and you can see the video. Another point that I didn't mention in the first, of course, you have the data that is coming top down, but you have also some data that are coming at the bottom to the top. When you surf on internet, there is data in the two ways, of course. The uplink is, we don't show it in the slide because generally the uplink is infrared. So the top to the down, it is a visible light, and the uplink is infrared. So you can see on the left, right hand side, the emitter and the receiver. The video are transmit, and they receive a response if needed with the infrared LED, and everyone is deployed with a fiber optic. So it was a proto that has been shown in the Salon du Bourget in this year, 2019. And, it seems that the plane industry is very interesting by this technology. Okay, I have finished.